1950s. Professional basketball barely resembled the modern game, and that chaos created an opening for total dominance. Defenses were slow, spacing was non existent, and teams stalled endlessly just to survive possessions. Games regularly ended with scores in the teens. The league needed a centerpiece, and one towering figure forced the sport to evolve or collapse. Standing 6'10" and weighing 250 pounds, he overwhelmed opponents who averaged several inches shorter. But size was only the beginning. He scored with both hands, ran the floor, and punished defenders without mercy. The numbers were overwhelming. 5 championships, 4 MVP caliber seasons, scoring averages north of 23 points when teams barely cracked 80. Opponents responded by bending the rules, but it only exposed the problem further. It gets crazier. His presence directly triggered lane widening, goaltending enforcement, and eventually the 24-second shot clock in 1954. No other player in league history forced that many structural changes. Names like Dolph Schayes and Bob Cousy mattered, but they played within the system. The system revolved around one man. Halfway through the decade, the NBA realized it had its first superstar. That player was George Mikan, and the league survived because of him. 1960s. Winning became predictable, almost suffocating, and it started on the defensive end. While scoring numbers exploded elsewhere, one franchise strangled the league with discipline, rebounding, and intimidation. Opponents entered series knowing the ending before tip-off. This era wasn't about flash. It was about control. Blocking shots before they were recorded, turning fast breaks into fear. The box score rarely told the full story. Championships did. 11 titles in 13 seasons defined dominance no athlete has replicated. Rivals like Wilt Chamberlain posted absurd numbers, including 100 points and season averages over 50. But something always stopped him when it mattered. Team basketball, leadership, defense. It gets worse. From 1959 to 1966, the same team won 8 straight championships, an achievement untouched across all major sports. And at the center of it all was a player who valued winning possessions more than padding stats. By the early 1960s, the conversation ended quietly. There was no debate, no split vote, just rings. The Celtics owned the decade and Bill Russell owned the Celtics. The league moved forward, but his shadow lingered over every trophy ceremony. 1970s. The league fractured, merged, and nearly lost its identity. Talent spread across teams, and stars jumped leagues chasing leverage and freedom. Amid the noise, one presence remained unavoidable. While others chased flair, he mastered efficiency, 7'1", smooth footwork, and a move nobody could block. The skyhook became inevitable. Defenses knew it was coming and still failed. Numbers backed it up relentlessly. Across the decade, he averaged 28.5 points, 15 rebounds, and over 3 blocks per game. MVP awards piled up. All NBA selections became routine. Teams built entire schemes just to slow him down. It gets crazier. In Milwaukee, he delivered a championship in his second season, the only title that franchise has ever touched. In Los Angeles, he anchored relevance during turbulent years. Rivals like Julius Erving electrified crowds, and Dave Cowens won hardware. But consistency separated this era's ruler. Longevity mattered, availability mattered. Impact on both ends mattered most. Halfway through the decade, arguments stopped. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wasn't just the best big man alive. He was the league's stabilizer during its most fragile era, and the decade belonged to him. 1980s. Basketball exploded into mainstream culture, and charisma became currency. Showtime, rivalries, and primetime television transformed the league's image. Superstars weren't enough anymore. The game needed leaders who elevated everyone around them. One player redefined positions entirely, playing point guard at 6'9" and seeing angles nobody else imagined. The decade opened with an impossible moment. As a rookie in 1980, he started at center in the finals, dropped 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists, and won finals MVP. But that's not all. Over the next 10 years, championships followed. 5 titles, 3 MVPs, 9 finals appearances. Rivals like Larry Bird matched brilliance, and Michael Jordan flashed unmatched scoring. But winning anchored the debate. Pace, joy, and creativity flowed through one conductor. The Lakers didn't just win, they entertained. Halfway through the decade, Magic Johnson became the face of the NBA, exactly when it needed one. Before we go any further, but first, only cool people are subscribed to this channel, so hit that subscribe button before we go any further. The 80s didn't belong to highlights alone, they belonged to control, and Magic owned it. 1990s. Fear returned to basketball. Arenas buzzed differently when one player stepped onto the floor. The game slowed, defenses tightened, and pressure moments became unavoidable. Early playoff exits fueled doubts, but adaptation changed everything. Added muscle, sharper passing, trust in teammates. Once the switch flipped, the league never recovered. 6 finals appearances, 6 championships, 0 losses, scoring titles stacked yearly. MVPs followed. He averaged over 30 points per game across the decade while guarding elite wings nightly. It gets worse. Global stardom exploded alongside dominance. Sneakers became culture. Television ratings soared. Rivals like Hakeem Olajuwon dominated briefly, and Karl Malone compiled numbers, but nobody touched the moment. Clutch shots defined legacies, and he delivered relentlessly. The 1997 flu game, the 1998 final shot. Every series felt predetermined. Halfway through the decade, debates ended. Michael Jordan didn't just win. He imposed inevitability. The league expanded, international fans arrived, and basketball became entertainment worldwide. The 90s were ruthless, iconic, and unforgettable. One player towered over all of it, and his shadow still defines greatness conversations decades later. 2000, the league searched desperately for a successor, cycling through candidates with familiar flaws. Some had numbers, others had titles, none had the mentality. One guard mirrored the obsession, the footwork, and the relentlessness fans recognized immediately. Early championships came alongside a dominant center, sparking debate about hierarchy. But when rosters thinned, the truth surfaced. From 2003 to 2010, he averaged 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists while facing constant double teams. It gets crazier. In 2006, he scored 81 points in a single game. In 2003, he outscored Dallas 62 to 61 through 3 quarters. Defensive selections followed. Game winners piled up. Rivals like Tim Duncan anchored dynasties. And Shaquille O'Neal overwhelmed physically. But skill versatility broke ties. By the decade's end, back-to-back championships sealed it. Leadership mattered. Preparation mattered. Killer instinct mattered most. Halfway through the 2000s, the league stopped searching. Kobe Bryant wasn't the next version of anyone. He was his own era. The decade demanded obsession, and nobody embodied it more completely. 2010s. Longevity became the measuring stick, and pressure followed relentlessly. One forward entered the decade carrying impossible expectations and answered them yearly. Finals appearances stacked almost automatically. From 2011 to 2018, his teams reached the championship round 8 straight times. Across the decade, he averaged 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists, redefining versatility. It gets worse. He delivered championships in 3 cities, including a historic comeback from down 3-1 in 2016. Rivals like Kevin Durant dominated scoring, Stephen Curry changed spacing, and Kawhi Leonard peaked defensively, but consistency crushed debates. Availability, playmaking, physical dominance. Halfway through the decade, discussion shifted from potential to legacy. Losing finals didn't erase impact. Carrying rosters mattered. Elevating teammates mattered. Records fell quietly. All-time playoff points, minutes, buzzer beaters. The conversation expanded beyond rings. LeBron James became unavoidable. The league bent around him for 10 years. And even critics acknowledged the run was unprecedented. The 2010s weren't defined by one season. They were defined by sustained pressure, and nobody handled it better. 2020. Positionless basketball reached its peak when one center flipped expectations entirely. No explosive athleticism, no highlight dunks, just control. Offenses flowed through him naturally. Passing lanes appeared instantly. From 2021 to 2024, MVPs followed, and a championship arrived with finals MVP validation. Numbers told the story clearly. Triple doubles from the center position, career playoff averages near 28 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists. It gets crazier. Teams couldn't double him without conceding open shots. Rivals like Giannis Antetokounmpo dominated physically. Luka Doncic overwhelmed with usage, and Stephen Curry remained lethal. But efficiency decided it. Winning mattered. Availability mattered. Denver's offense became historically elite, with him orchestrating every possession. Halfway through the decade, skepticism faded. Nikola Jokic wasn't a novelty. He was the system. Advanced metrics crowned him yearly. Teammates thrived beside him. Defenses collapsed silently. The decade is still unfolding, but the foundation is set. If it ended today, the answer is clear. One player reshaped what dominance looks like without ever raising his voice. The future will challenge it, but the bar has already been placed impossibly high. If you like this video, consider watching this next one, which YouTube thinks you're going to really love.